Hey, good morning. And here we are with the always amazing, lovely Paulette.
Good
And
morning.
she has a new project. This is called Bits of Bricks.
Right.
Okay, so take it away, Paulette.
So I called it Bits of Bricks because a traditional quilt design stacks up rectangles and it's called bricks. And I thought these are broken bricks, so it's just bits of bricks. But it's so easy. There's one unit to make, and you can throw everything in out of your stash and come up with, I think, a really nice quilt.
Yeah.
So
you would have to divide into light and darks, wouldn't you?
I do. So
Yeah.
here is my little stacks of lights, all kinds of different things.
Wow. I recognize some of that fabric, Paulette.
Yes,
Oh.
and darks.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of things in there. I'm not looking at the design that's on it. It's just, is it lighter and darker to the guy it's going to sit next to?
Okay.
So we're going to pick, and we're cutting these 3 inches by 6 inches. So very easy, no half inches or anything. So there are 3 by 6 inch rectangles. So
And you don't worry about it being directional either. I see that the cars are. Oh no, I guess the cars are going. They're
well,
going
they
up
could
and
be going that, but they could be upside down. So.
Yeah.
No, I don't worry about direction for this particular quilt. So a light and a dark rectangle, and you're going to layer those two. Oh, my new dandy board. So what you're going to do is take that dark rectangle and you're going to layer the light rectangle in the upper left-hand corner here.
And that's
with
right
all
sides
the
together?
edges. Right sides together.
Okay.
And what I do is I fold this up because it's exactly half the size, make a little crease there, and that's what I'm aiming for when I'm sewing from here to here.
Oh my word! So you don't have to spend 5 hours drawing a line.
You don't have to, but you can. You can draw the diagonal. I still make the little crease because I need to know where
where you need to
along
end
this
up.
edge I'm going to end up. So I still
Right.
do a little finger press there. But you're sewing from up here in the middle over to that end. And you're going to end up with a unit like this, and there's the seam. And when you open it up, this is what you have.
And does it matter which way you press it?
I press, because nothing has to match anything here, I press towards the darker fabric in every one of these units.
Okay, now when you say nothing has to match, what you mean is because these are offset.
Yeah, they're staggered.
This is not meeting with this.
Nope.
They're
That's right.
offset.
Everywhere they're just offset.
Yeah.
So you're not, it doesn't matter which direction you're sewing. Even the rows, it doesn't matter which direction because nothing has to meet up in these long seams here.
Okay, now do you lock your first stitches and ending stitches, or do you just stitch it?
I do not. I sew with quite a small stitch length between 2 and 1.5.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
There,
Yeah.
and I feel like that is enough because
Yeah.
I'm not handling these a lot. All I'm going to do is press towards the darker fabric and it's done.
Yeah.
So, you know, and so I don't lock them.
Okay.
When I'm doing long seams, I would lock at the start of that long seam and at the bottom, just because I'm going to be handling it. Maybe I'm adding a border or whatever. So I want those outside ones to be a little bit more secure.
Yep.
Okay, so we're
that
going
makes
to
sense.
make a bunch of units like this. So you're just going to make all kinds of units with a light and a dark, and it doesn't matter what colors they are. So I made quite a few of them here. You can see I've got all kinds of different fabrics together.
Yeah, she has like steel nerves, I tell you. Like, oh my word.
So you're going to end up with a real pile of these units, but that's all you need to make this.
And actually, the more that you have in a variety of colors and themes, the more interesting the quilt is.
Yeah, I think so.
I tend to overthink it so that it then becomes, all purple and pinks or, reds and blues or something. And it actually is better if you mix it up.
I like the variety. So, and if you're working in your stash, maybe all you can cut is one 3x6 rectangle. Well, it can go in this quilt. So just use it up. So what I did to make it a little bit easier to, use on your design wall is I actually sewed 3 strips together. So now they're kind of like a block. They're only 8, though this is going to end up being 9 inches. And when you sew 3 together, this is going to end up being 8.
Because they started at
inches.
3 by 6?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just found it easier sewing them into 3s. You can still move them around quite a bit in the quilt, like where you're going to put it. But you're not moving, 200 little things. You've got bigger units to work with. So I sewed them into 3s.
Okay.
I got to get my notes here. So this ends up being 8 inches by 9 inches, but that's just it, it's just an uneven number, but it doesn't matter because you're just stacking them one next to each other. So what you do though is, because we have this stagger here, which, I think you still see these nice dark columns here. So it doesn't matter that they don't match up, and it just saves you, a little bit of grief. And so when you stagger them like that, you're going to end up with a piece on the top and the bottom of some of the rows, like this row, this row, this row. So when you're auditioning these guys, wherever they're going to sit, and let's say this one is going this way, then if I decide that that's exactly where I want that one to sit, when I'm sewing this long row, I will sew one extra strip.
Right.
One of these units, when I say strip, one of these units onto the bottom of this one so that I can trim it off later.
Oh, okay. So you don't cut it first and then sew it. You
No,
put
I
it
don't.
on and then you trim. Okay.
I sew it on and then I do. Now I do, as I'm sewing these long columns together, I do kind of watch where that center part is so that I don't start to get it stretched or something like that.
Yeah.
So I do kind of.
So it should be roughly the middle of the cord of the coinciding one beside it. Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, you can do the same thing too. You can fold that in half and just make a little crease there so that you get that next seam that's coming along to kind of match where that is.
Yeah.
So you do need to add on every other column an extra strip. And you could add it to, you just add it to the whatever unit is on the top or the bottom so that it's a 4-1 instead of 3. So
now,
because I've thrown so many colors in here, there are a few little tricky things. So you might look at this and say, well, this is dark, yes, but this is pretty dark yellow too. So like, is that really a good choice? Well, what I do when I have a combination like that is that sometimes I will group the same color together so that your eye kind of sees that color and it's not too distracted when it gets to that one that's a little iffy, so it just keeps going. I sewed these in columns, and so there's a few, I'm surprised, where they actually butted up against each other, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scrappy quilt, so there is no right or wrong, right? Now, why did you decide to put a plain border?
Okay, this is, I decided because I thought that the way I orientated my blocks, so these blocks are going this direction, but these blocks are going this direction, because you want this little ziggy-zaggy design coming down. And I thought that since I had these guys sitting here, if I added this light border, it really accentuates the dark color.
Yes.
But if you did it the other way and you sewed it together with the outside columns here having the dark on the outside and the light in the center, if you did that, which would be as if this was the end of the quilt, and you put on a dark border. You might have to kind of squint, but now you see this dark border, this dark scrap,
And then
now you've got
the light pops up.
Now you've got light columns.
Interesting.
So when you have it on your design wall, you can make that kind of choice. Do I want the light ones showing or the dark ones showing?
Now, with this quilt, would it lend itself well to using flannel?
I think you could. The pieces are large, 3.5
Yeah.
by or 3 by 6.
Yeah, so it's not going to be too bulky. That
No.
was what I would be concerned about. Is this
Yep.
There's a lot of seams in there, right?
Yep. So it's you have one diagonal seam here, and then but I think that's quite a big unit, and
Yep.
so flannels could work with this as well. It would be nice and cozy. I'm just
Very nice.
checking to see if there's anything else. You might have to trim when you've got these all laid out. I better put it the right direction. When you've got these all laid out one after another and ready to sew this column together, and you've got it all sewed, and the next one, you might have to go along the edge and trim it a little bit.
Oh, right.
But
Okay.
just, how
Yeah.
just to keep everything nice and straight.
Yeah.
But nothing really has to match anything else or fit together, just as long as we kind of stagger these. And it's so easy because you're just sewing, 2 rectangles together to make a really simple unit.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
very, very nice, Paulette.
Bits of bricks.
Are you ever going to run out of scraps?
Not likely.
No. And of course, Heather keeps bringing her more. Oh, look, a present. You get
Yes.
another present, Paulette. You're such a special person. So there you go. So anyway, that's our YouTube video for today. And I'm going to get that up onto the YouTube channel. And we'll be back again tomorrow, Coral and I, with bells upon our toes. And we hope you've got bells on your toes. Okay, see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.